I'm just sorting out the order, so it's Vic Daddy, JT Gelato, P3 is Motion Hazard, P4 is Jamie, P5 is Black Box, P6 is HPR Tomo, so we still need Tomo in the lobby. Again, I'll see, can I invite Tomo? I'm pretty sure I don't actually have Tomo on this account. If anybody does have Tomo, please do add him, and well, invite him in, please. So it was then Do You Vibe, who is correctly placed until Tomo gets here, Lane. Then it's Hazer, who is correctly placed, Red Bull up to Mr. P, Zach, who is actually behind Rusty Bolt, and then it's Josh ahead of Parkour. So that is correct, except for HPR Tomo. So I'm confirming that, but if we do need to edit it again, let's see, I'll go back onto it, onto the Discord chat. Sorry guys, it's taking a bit of CIR, dreadful. Yeah, seems about right. So just waiting, hopefully if Tomo can join. Cool. Just reset. Xbox, 2 seconds, okay, cool. I'm going to wait until I see number 14 at the top go to a 15. Because that's when there should be HPR Tomo joining the lobby. Although I don't know if it automatically shows him at the bottom of this screen. It might do. Okay, Tomo is now joining, so I'm just going to quickly update it. So Tomo, let me just check if Tomo was he P5, I believe. I know he was one of them, P5 or P6, him or Black Box. Because Do You Vibe was 7th, Lane was 8th. So all the top 7 down was definitely right, and I think the top 4 was alright. It was just up to Tomo and Black Box. P6, okay, cool. So that will be the order in black box ahead of Tomo, and then I will confirm. And we'll just double check it all, because I think it is all correct. So as I said, the top 4 I knew was correct, and then 7th downwards was right. So it was just those 2, black box and Tomo. But there you go. So it is now all set for the race then. So we will now wait on the readying up to get into the race, but do not ready up until it's been stated in the lobby. So everybody will need to get their setup sorted and also sort out their tyres. I'm uncertain, it may just be me for the comms. We'll see if Hockey can get back in. He's just been having a few issues with his headset. Right, so we are advancing into the race then, but of course we do have the normal, I think we'll have a normal 5 minutes to prepare for everything. Or at least go when Mrs. P has stated to do so. And I will, however, now have to switch from the Discord chat to the Twitch chat. So I'm now on the Twitch stream. So if anybody is going to comment on there, please feel free to do so. Right, that's all set up now. So I'm not seeing what's going on in the Discord chat now. So I'm going to hope everybody does do things correctly. How was quali? Yes, quali was very close. So I think it was 1/10, just under, separating Fictazi ahead of JT Galato. It was on full wets as well. Whereas the race is fully dry. I think if I remember, so it was Motion Hazard P3, and he was about half a second behind, I think. But it's I'm happy that it is Vic Daddy and JT Galato at the front, because those two were extremely fast last week, even though Vic Daddy had his 1 or 2 problems. He certainly came back into it. I mean, I wouldn't say they've compromised. I don't know. It's difficult to say. Some of them may have compromised, but yeah. We'll see what their race pace is like. Definitely expecting it to be between JT Galato and Vic Daddy. Hopefully both of them get away nicely, but then you've certainly got a couple of drivers behind who are also quick and will look to pick up the pieces. And with it being Singapore, if you do make a mistake, then if there's a driver behind you, they will look to overtake you, and it may be difficult to re-overtake. There's not many clear overtaking opportunities here, that's for sure. So if you can get away nicely from the start, say you're on the mediums or the hard, well, if you're on the hard tyres, it might be a bit difficult. So we are on the tyres at the moment, and it looks like still Vic Daddy and Steelane on the medium. So last time around, before we had to have to reset, JT Galato was originally on mediums, but with about 5 seconds left he switched to the hard tyres. Vic Daddy and Motion Hazard both started on mediums, and Motion Hazard overtook JT Galato. So it was Vic Daddy, Hazard and JT Galato in that order in the top 3 before we had to reset. It'd be interesting to see if they're going to be switching around. surely Haas is going to opt for the medium tyres this time around, given how well he done last time. Oh, Tomo has left the session. And that's how it all started last time as well. Tomo left it, and it was weird because I've never seen it before where a driver has been disqualified after the formation lap before we even start the race. Like, they fully disqualified from the race. That was weird. And we had 3 drivers, which is why we had to reset it. So I am worried for HPR Tomo. It's almost tempting to recommend him to join a session after the race starts. Just to try something different, because if we try the same thing, surely is he going to just get disqualified for the race as well? Obviously I hope not, but it may genuinely happen. But I don't know why it was like that at all. But still only 3 drivers on the mediums, everyone else on the hards at the moment. So we know motion hazard is typically very strong from the start. So it wouldn't surprise me if it is him and Thick Daddy who do take an early lead ahead of JT Galato. Which is a little bit quite the opposite of what happened last week, because it was Galato was P1, Thick Daddy was, I think, was P4. And he definitely had some early struggles, but he did come back into it, but he wasn't quite quick enough to catch up to JT Galato. But it is definitely very close between the pairing. And then what about from the back? You've got the likes of Hazer, Red Bull, I think Zach. They all have a lot of potential from the back. So Josh had a quaddy ban as well. So he's starting P14 because Parkour couldn't get a time in. So the 2 Aston Martins have it all to do. Unfortunately for Team Ferrari, we do not have a driver for this race, sadly. But anyways, we are 20 seconds away from the start of the formation lap. And I am very hopeful for Tomo that the same thing does not occur again. But let's see, are there going to be any late changes in terms of the tyres? I'm seeing no changes, so it doesn't look like it at all. 4 drivers on the medium tyres. Red Bull on the mediums as well, meanwhile, instead of the hards. So the formation lap has gone underway, and again the same thing has happened with in regards to Tomo, and he has now joined. We'll stay with the broadcaster for the formation lap. Yeah, consistency is so important here. I mean, let's be honest, it's crucial at every single track, but you don't want to make a mistake on a track where it's difficult to overtake on. If you're going to make a mistake, at least do it at a track where you know you have straight line speed and there's enough opportunities. But at Singapore, you're only going to get maybe 2 or 3 reasonably decent overtaking spots. And I say decent, they're not great, but you can potentially overtake here. So just going through the order. So it'll be interesting to see what the 2 Aston Martins can do from the back as well. Yeah, I mean, on a personal basis, I think I did stuff up the last race. Having watched it back, I think I shouldn't have gone for the move that I went for. I just think my eyes sort of opened up as soon as I saw him go wide. I was like, oh, there's an opportunity here. And then, yeah, I stuffed it out myself, really. Could have got maybe a podium or something, but yeah. One last. Okay, so let's see if I can get him back into it. Hockey. Don't know if he's still in the game, but I will invite him to the party as well. He might be able to get back into it. Let's see. It's Viva F1 comms tonight, and it might be hopefully joined by Hockey Iceman as well. We'll see. Yep. Can a stream hear him? That's the important question. Yeah, I'm tier 2 Ferrari. Can you, Hockey, if you talk a little bit, then I might be able to hear you. No, cannot hear. Okay, I'll quickly sort this out because they may have reset it. Ah, there. Just turn on the party audio so it should allow it for you. We are getting underway then with Motion Hazard. And yeah, it does the same thing with Tomo. Unfortunately, HPR Tomo shows up as him disqualified. We are waiting for the race to get underway. Now it is underway. Oh, this is another glitch. Safety car. Because Tomo disqualified. So, at least we won't get any incidents into turn 1. It's the only positive. 5-second penalty for black box for ignoring the yellow flag. Yeah, EA just being a bit funny. Well, they heard you last time, didn't they? They did hear you last time, didn't they? Oh, okay. Oh, that's a bit rubbish, isn't it? um, well, we'll mention in the game we're just waiting then for everyone to catch up to the safety car, which shouldn't really have occurred, but there you go. So yeah, not much is actually happening in the race because of it. Have you got party unmuted on Twitch? Yeah. So it's all unmuted on there. It does actually say the party is being streamed. But it's only because he's not using his headset. He's trying it on his phone. So I think that's why. There you go. So he's definitely using his phone. Just heard his vibration. Oh, well, have a nice night off then, mate. I will see you back. Wait, you're just going to be racing it in tier 4, right? Back on Thursday night. So yeah, so that was Hockey Iceman. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to be heard, but it'd be nice to see him back at some point in the comms. Maybe next Monday. We'll find out though. Oh, as Jamie just goes for a little bit of a spin, but just wants to be careful on the throttle. So I'm also hopeful that the safety car, which should never have been out, but I'm hoping that it will go in this lap. I did have to have that fear, to be honest, with HPR Tomo, that because he did leave, obviously unintentional, of course, he wasn't trying to leave. It was just the EA servers, I think. But the safety car is in this lap. See when Vic Daddy goes, and I think this is probably a better thing for JT Galato because he should be able to hold on to the top two. Hazard does look closer though to JT Galato as Vic Daddy does get away very nicely. What's happening here? Steelane and Hazer. Hazer into P7, taking an advantage of the Alfa Romeo, and it's the first overtake of the race. Do vibe all over the back of Black Box and the two Aston Martins switching positions. Parkour potentially allowing Josh through. Oh yeah, Josh pitted on. Okay, so he pitted for mediums, but I mean you can understand why because he was last anyways. But I think he's just going to go back onto the hards at the end of the race, I believe. I didn't actually notice that at all. So go back. It looks close still. So Steelane and Red Bull right behind Hater, who is starting to catch up to the top six now. Gaps are being formed in the lead, and also I will mention that Motion Hazard keeping tabs on JT Galato. About half a second between the pairing at the moment. Steelane still right behind Hazer, who has closed up now to the top six within 1 second. And Hazard in the Mercedes still keeping up with JT Galato, who has dropped off to 1.4 seconds to Vic Daddy, of course, being on the harder compound tyres. Might be expected, but he won't want to be overtaken by Motion Hazard this early in the race. So Vic Daddy 141.2 for the first lap. And now the gap opening up to 1.8 seconds. Vic Daddy is pulling away on the medium tyres. Any other battles going on at the moment? Just going through everyone at the moment, and it doesn't look like it. Parkour has just started to drop off, but is now gaining a bit more actually. Potentially it was Josh who just dropped off. The two Aston Martins still struggling at the back. And actually, Hayes are now closing up on Do Your Vibe. Gained 1 place already. Can he gain a 2nd place on the Williams? Still watching the gaps opening up between Vic Daddy and JT Galato. Over 2 seconds. Motion Hazard sticking with the Alfa Romeo. But again, it's all about, are you going to be mistake or error prone, or can you hang on to your car and avoid mistakes? If you avoid mistakes, I don't think you're going to lose many positions. In that aspect, it's a little bit similar to, yellow flags, and it's UFRL Red Bull dropping to the back in the second Williams. And as a result now, he has dropped to P14. And DRS now has been enabled, so Hazard is in DRS range, and as are both Do Your Vibe. Oh, and Hazer has spun round, and also Rusted Bolt heading into the pit lane. And Hazer dropping places to one of the Aston Martins now, so Josh up into the top 10. And Mr. P has dropped off 3 seconds behind Steelane. And has a few cars directly behind, so it is, can Mr. P now start to catch up to the top 7? I do wonder what's happened to the likes of Hazer, Red Bull and Rusted Bolt then, all dropping down the order. go on board and with Zach right behind Mr. P as Motion Hazard has now dropped out of DRS range of JT Galato. And there are more yellow flags, and it is Hazer who is out of the race. Oh, just want to be careful there. Red Bull almost collided into the back of Hazer, but he didn't. So it is another full course safety car, and at least this one is legitimate. So the gap between Thick Daddy and JT Galato will close right up again, as it did reach around 3 seconds. And Motion Hazard once more will close into within a second of JT Galato as well. Now, who is this going to suit more? Potentially, well, it should extend the tyre life of... Oh, Motion Hazard opting for a pit stop from the medium tyres. Will surely go on to the hards. And we'll look to go to the end of the race then. Is this a bold strategy call for the Mercedes? Oh, and a change of front wing, which may suggest why he had lost a bit of time to JT Galato. So Motion Hazard in the pit, as is Josh in the Aston Martin. And Red Bull 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Soft tyres going on for Josh. And also a front wing change. What about UFRL? Red Bull surely going to change his front wing. Indeed he is, and it's the hard tyres on for him. So Hazard and Red Bull on the hard, softs for Josh, and thus Bolt is on mediums, but also heading into the pits. So it's Vic Daddy on the medium tyres from JT Galato on the hard tyres. Also on hard, Jamie, Black Box and Do You Vibe, and you've got Steel Lane on the mediums. Mr. P on hards, Zach on hards, Parkour also on hards. Len, P10 Motion Hazard, is on fresh hard tyres. P11 is QX Josh in the Aston Martin on fresh soft tyres. P12 UFRL Red Bull on fresh medium tyres with a penalty. Black Box also has a penalty in P4 in the Red Bull. And Rusted Bolt on 4-lap old hard tyres, P13 having just pitted from the mediums. And it looks like we are going to have, I believe, one more lap under the safety car, because of how far behind a few of these drivers are. So Josh, Red Bull and Rusted Bolt all needing to catch up. So the safety car at least does extend the tyre life for the leaders of Vic Daddy and JT Galato in particular. Haven't seen their pace so far, but then at the same time, Motion Hazard. Oh, Josh, 3-second penalty. And that's unnecessary, and we'll actually get the penalty situation on board at the moment then. So it's 5 seconds for Black Box and UFRL Red Bull. Could have possibly been a good thing for Red Bull to have boxed again, maybe, and taken off the 5-second penalty. But then he doesn't want to pit again after that, does he? So sad for him, but Black Box having those 5 seconds. And that was for the earlier safety car infringement. Didn't quite catch what happened exactly, but he must have overtaken under the safety car, I think. So we've got the disqualification of Tomo, of course. That's, that's an EA glitch. And then Hazer with the retirement. So one Mercedes and one McLaren out of the race so far. Oh, Mr. P is out. And we will now stay then with Rusted Bolt as he's catching up. Hopefully Mr. P's car will stay there. Then we'll just have a good view of where it is. It looks like, is it on the left side? Oh, I think it was on the left side, but It looked like, yeah, he got all the marks there. Unfortunately, Mr. P is out of the race. So, one Red Bull, one Mercedes, one McLaren, all out of the race. Mr. P, Hazer, and Tomo. And as soon as Rusted Bolt catches up, hopefully this lap, we should be going underway. I'm hoping we don't have another lap of the safety car. So I'm just waiting for the confirmation. Hopefully we'll get it soon. But we'll go back then with the tyre situation. And sadly for Josh, I don't know how beneficial the soft tyres will be, but the safety car is in this lap. Thick Daddy versus JT Gelato. The battle of the maestros, and it is going to be those two with Jamie in the McLaren directly behind. Let's see then, and Thick Daddy is going, and it is a real big advantage for the top two. Thick Daddy and JT Gelato pulled out a stunning gap over Jamie, who's got black box all over the back of him. Not quite able to make the move into turn one. Do you vibe? Steve Lane, Zach, Motion Hazard, and Josh. Josh making the move on Hazard. Is he? No, not quite. And Hazard down the inside. And then maybe no contact at all because Josh now round the outside. Now into the inside, but it will be out the outside again. And Josh looks like he has greater straight line speed on the soft tyres. And will be ahead of Motion Hazard up into the top 8. And that is a nice move by Josh. And that is one of the overtaking spots, that's for sure. Without the aid of DRS, Hazard dropping down another place to Red Bull, and there you go. Hazard dropped 2 places on the fresh hard tyres. Was P3, now down to P10 behind Josh and Red Bull. And there may still be a chance for Red Bull to get a position. It looks like Do You Vibe in the Williams, and he's now hit a couple of walls, I think. Maybe lacking a front wing, and he's dropping places. So it is Steve Lane ahead of Zach from Josh. Red Bull making a place ahead of Do You Vibe, and there may have been contact as well. Parkour is out of the session. Red Bull P8 has a P9, and it is another full core safety car. Retirement for Parkour. And I'm thinking it may have been a bit of contact from potentially, is it Do You Vibe? No front wing for the Williams. And also, it looks like no front wing for Motion Hazard. And also, what about Red Bull? Has he got his front wing intact? Well, either way, there is a pit stop going on ahead, and it is the race leader, Thick Daddy, pitting from the medium tyres. Surely the hard tyres are going on. The only negative thing for Thick Daddy that I'm seeing, though, he will be in a lot of traffic, potentially. It looks like he'll be out in P7. However, he'll be behind Red Bull, who is on a similar strategy, who will look to go to the end on these hard tyres. So it's the 4th retirement of the race, and now you've got Red Bull into the top 6 on the fresher hard tyres. Technically does not have to pit again, but if we do have a late safety car, I'm sure he will switch to softs. Thick Daddy P7 on the fresh hards, Josh P8 on the fresh hards, and it's Rusted Bolt on fresh mediums. So I'm thinking the 3 at the back, Rusted Bolt, Motion Hazard, and Do You Vibe, still surely have to pit again. And maybe it would make a bit more sense if they did revert back to the harder tyres. I'm surprised Hazard didn't Motion Hazard. He was on. He would want to go back on the hard tyres, surely. So he would lose a place of Do You Vibe, but it would make sense for Motion Hazard to box onto the hard tyres, I think. Unless he's now hoping for a safety car. That's always a problem for a track like Singapore. If you do make a pit stop early on where it's challenging to overtake at, you don't want to be stuck behind drivers who you feel like you've got more pace than. And that's what possibly happened to Motion Hazard. And sadly for drivers such as Red Bull and Thick Daddy, that may be similar to them, especially for Thick Daddy with Red Bull directly ahead. But Motion Hazard on the soft, so I do wonder if he will go and pit again. If not, he will obviously look to push those soft tyres and make moves on a couple of the drivers ahead of him to close in on Red Bull and Thick Daddy. So the only way for Motion Hazard to really know is if where the likes of Red Bull and Thick Daddy are, if he's checked the if he's paused the game, or if he's watching the stream or listening to the stream, he will know he's P10, Red Bull P6, Thick Daddy P7. But they won't be on his 5 driver list, I don't think. Sadly for him. But now it is going to be interesting with a few split strategies. And JT Galato on the hard tyres has the lead of the race. And everybody has caught up to the back of the safety car as well. So I do have question marks over whether Red Bull can get to the end on his hard tyres. They're 4 laps old. But I do believe that Thick Daddy on 1 lap old hard tyres and Josh on 2 lap old hard tyres, I think those two can go to the end. And when will the Steel Lane's medium tyres, when will they start to wear off? 9 laps old, of course, not pitted yet in the Alfa Romeo, so can Steel Lane keep up with the top 3, and when will he have to go to the hard tyres or even do another form of strategy? Safety car is in this lap, nice and early. So JT Galato now dropping back from the safety car. Of course, you want to avoid any contact with the car ahead whilst we are under safety car conditions. No benefit of losing your front wing before we go back to green flag racing. So we will go on board and with Jamie, and Galato has gone. So JT Galato with a nice healthy lead of about half a second to Jamie, but Black Box is only 3 tenths behind. Duyuvai picking up a 3-second penalty. And there's a few changes at the back. Rusted Bolt dropping places to Duyuvai, and I think possibly Motion Hazard is now into the top 9 and should be able to take the move on Josh, maybe round the outside, and Josh stays just ahead, but Hazard picks up a penalty, which will be interesting if he reports that. But Motion Hazard up into the top 8 now and taking the places of both Josh and I believe it was Rusted Bolt. And now does have Red Bull and Thick Daddy within view. And, a struggle for Thick Daddy in the Alpine. That may put him under threat from the soft tyre runner off Motion Hazard. Just a little slip there for Thick Daddy. Not what you would expect from the Season 3 champion. Or Season 2 champion, should I say. He's not won a Season 3 title just yet. With only 2 races completed. Would be a bit too soon, I think. But certainly these two looking close, and you've also got Red Bull and Zach closing in on Steel Lane. So the gaps are getting closer. 1.3 seconds splitting JT Galato P1 and Jamie P2. There's also a bit of a gap between Jamie P2 and Black Box P3 of about 1.1 seconds now. So everyone from 4th downwards are within DRS range, actually from 3rd downwards, because Steel Lane is in DRS range of Black Box. So a DRS train has been formed as Thick Daddy is close on Red Bull. Will he make a dive down the inside? No, and it looks like they've all attempted a similar thing. And almost contact made by Thick Daddy, and that may enable a move potentially for Hazard, and in fact it does. Motion Hazard has made a pass on Thick Daddy, is into the top 7. As a result of Thick Daddy and Thick Daddy again, I think at the same place, just almost colliding into the wall. He is having a few struggles in his Alpine, that is for certain. It's not going too smoothly for Thick Daddy. And contact has been made ahead, and it's Red Bull with potentially Red Bull and Zach, I think. I might be wrong, but I think those two, and there's contact made into the wall for Red Bull. And this car has just gone slowly, and he's now dropping to the back, leaving the session as well, without retiring in the pit lane. But certainly contact seemed to be made potentially between those two, Zach and Red Bull, but there were moves being made between the likes of Thick Daddy and Motion Hazard, who is battling now with Steel Lane side by side, and Motion Hazard has the position, is up into the top 4 on the soft tyres. He is absolutely flying, and now is looking to chase down the top 3, but again he will have to pit. But fortunately for Motion Hazard, the top 3 still all have to pit as well. So with all the top 4 needing to pit, as Thick Daddy maybe can stay on these hard tyres to the end, but he's had a couple of struggles already, so he will just need to keep it on track, and he still has a potential chance of winning this race. And again, does seem to run wide, and it wouldn't surprise me if very soon he just pick up a penalty. And pits being made at the back. Steel Lane changing his front wing. Do You Vibe, Red Bull also seemingly, so all of them pitting and changing their front wing. Steel Lane, Zach, Do You Vibe, and the ghosted Red Bull. So it's fresh hard tyres on for Steel Lane then in P8. But it is a runaway group of the top 7 now. JT Galato 1.6 seconds ahead of the McLaren of Jamie. And there is a 3.3 second gap between Jamie and Black Box P2 and P3. But then right on the back of Black Box is Motion Hazard. The pacey Mercedes looking to make a move on the Red Bull ahead, with DRS using up his ERS as well, which Black Box has plenty of. And there is no move down the inside, although Black Box possibly made contact with the wall. I don't think he did, but Hazard now around the outside on the inside, and now has to move on Black Box into the top 3. Goes Motion Hazard, and his soft tyres are really paying the difference right now, and he will look to close in now onto the top 2. And that move may enable Thick Daddy an opportunity to close in on Black Box, in fact, although he has Josh right behind. So Thick Daddy is not going so nicely for him, as it did in qualifying, and what we were seeing early on in the race, with his advantage on the medium tyres, but on the hard tyres he is struggling. As Josh still all over the back of Thick Daddy ahead in the Aston Martin, and Rusted Bolt keeping up in the AlphaTauri as well. And there is an opportunity round the outside for Josh, not quite making it now on the inside, and back to the outside. But again, the Alpine. It's all contact made between Thick Daddy and Josh, both losing the place to Rusted Bolt. And Thick Daddy, it looks like he's lost his front wing, and he's dropped to P7, may drop even further. He will have to head into the pits, and potentially Josh may be under Stewart's inquiry for that, but we'll continue the race as Rusted Bolt now into the top 5. No safety car, no virtual safety car either, and Zach making the move on Do You Vibe, both actually making a bit of contact between the pairing. And it is Do You Vibe without the front wing. Zach does have his front wing intact, and now makes the move, Zach, into the top 9 on Do You Vibe. So I think both drive. So I think Do You Vibe will have to pit from and change his front wing. That was a bit of a horrific angle there. Let's can we go back? Okay, that's our broadcast view. That's the broadcast view. Nice. They give us a lovely view there, don't they? I mean, there you go. That's nicer. What was that? That was the broadcast view. What was that all about? So there you go. Josh does make a pit stop in the Aston Martin from the hard tyres. Thick Daddy also, sadly for him, in the pits. And it looks like it is possibly down to JT Galato and Motion Hazard. Because Motion Hazard is starting to still continue his closing in on Jamie ahead at 3 seconds. Certainly opened the gap up to Black Box. Meanwhile, Rusted Bolt has shown some solid pace, you've got to admit. He is P5 and is within DRS range of Black Box ahead. So Rusted Bolt continuing some consistency in terms of race pace. And he's now right on the rear of Black Box. And looks like actually these two, Vibe and Josh, very close, and contact made, and Josh in the Aston Martin does lose out on P8. Vibes is ahead in the Williams on the hard tyres. So Thick Daddy is on fresh soft tyres now. Maybe looking to get a fastest lap on them. Let's see at the moment who has got the fastest lap. If it shows us there, no it doesn't. It will show us here. So it is Thick Daddy with the fastest lap anyway, a 141.2. As Thick Daddy makes the pass on Josh, quite comfortable, and is now into the top 9. But can Josh have a battle round the outside here? No. And Thick Daddy with the great attraction stays ahead into 9th place on the soft tyres. So can he do similar to what Motion Hazard done and close the gap ahead? Black Box makes a pit stop onto the medium tyres. Where will he come out? So he will come out behind Stee Lane. Where does Zach come? So Zach comes round. So it will be a battle between Black Box and Zach. I think Black Box, is he just ahead? No, he's going to come out behind Zach. Zach P6, Black Box P7. And that is effectively for position as well. So Zach and Black Box both on medium tyres. Don't have to pit again. But Black Box apparently does have DRS, but it's not within the 1 second window. And now Thick Daddy is making the pass on Do You Vibe. Down the DRS straight into the top 8 now goes the Alpine. And still the Season 2 Tier 1 champion having to battle his way through. And let's see, Motion Hazard still hovering around 3 seconds behind Jamie. So the soft tyres not quite performing as well as they once were. Maybe the best thing for Hazard could be a safety car, but then at the same time, he'd surely want to be on better tyres than what JT Galato is on. Although Josh has had a spin and he stays ahead of Red Bull behind, who is still ghosted and won't really earn any points, sadly for him. So it's still JT Galato leading Jamie, 3.7 seconds between the duo. Further 3 seconds back is Motion Hazard on the aging soft tyres. I'm saying aging now because 8 laps old, they will start to wear off a lot more. Thick Daddy sets a 140.2 on his 2 lap old soft tyres. And thus about 4 seconds further behind Hazard. But the gap potentially is starting to come a bit more minimal now. And Rusted Bolt closing in on Hazard, who is losing time to Jamie ahead. Then you've got over 27 seconds between Rusted Bolt P4 and Stee Lane P5. So right now I think the closest sort of battles are between Zach, Black Box and Thick Daddy. We will stick with Thick Daddy then, as he will look to close in on the 2 medium tyre runners who can possibly get to the end of the race, I believe. Thick Daddy will still have to pit again. As Motion Hazard now on the soft tyres makes his pit stop, and he looks like he's going on to the hard tyres. He's already used the mediums, so he's got no real choice but to go onto the hards. But that should enable him to still stay out in the top 4. And let's see, Thick Daddy then is just over 1 second behind Black Box in the battle for P7 right now. Both are chasing down Zach. But I think Zach should look quite comfortable in P6 ahead of Black Box, but less comfortable if he saw Thick Daddy in his rear view mirror, that's for sure. Do Vibe pitting from the hard tyres now. It was P9, so he should drop to the back. But we're sticking with Thick Daddy, not quite within DRS range just yet, but he is hovering around 1 to 1.1 seconds behind Black Box. Now he is within a second, so if there is going to be a pass in this race, it could be Thick Daddy, but it also could be Zach, who is now within 1 second of Steel Lane. And Do You Vibe, 5-second penalty crossing the pit lane exit, white line. Sadly, he won't get that back. But Zach now all over the back of Steel Lane, not able to make the pass. What about Thick Daddy? As a look up ahead from Black Box, but not really superior at all. And these two, Zach and Thick Daddy, chasing down the cars ahead. Potentially the next opportunity for the duo, maybe on the starting straight. How close can Zach stay behind Steel Lane here? Now we'll have DRS not actually using his DRS. I don't think he used up his DRS there. So neither of them, Zach or Thick Daddy, able to make the pass. I think they are waiting for the next straight, which will be the best place to overtake if you can do it at all. So now he does use up his DRS. Maybe wanted to make Steel Lane use up his ERS, although he had enough of that left, 50%. But Zach makes the move round the outside and takes hold of P5. Thick Daddy, oh! And both drivers are out, Black Box and Thick Daddy. No space given to either, I don't think, and it'll be interesting to see what happens between that. But Thick Daddy and Black Box are out of the race. And, oh, Josh needing to avoid the pairing there, and now both are leaving that, so. But now JT Galato 4.7 seconds to Jamie, and that will be dropping right down, and as a result, JT Galato pits. Jamie, I'm sure, will pit as well, and he does. So, what about Rusted Bolt? E-boxes. Next question is for what tyres they are going on, and also, what about Motion Hazard? Currently on the 4-lap old hard tyres. Unfortunately for him, he is up against 3 medium tyre runners. Well, I'll say that. Rusted Bolt is on soft tyres. Hazard is pitting from the hards. Are they all just going to go for the soft tyres now? So the top 2, Galato and Jamie, on mediums. Or will Hazard revert back? He is reverting back to his medium tyres. But Rusted Bolt is going for the soft tyres, currently on the podium. And now, can Rusted Bolt, he will need to make a move on at least one of the drivers ahead, I think. So Zach in the pit, Steel Lane and Josh also in, and Zach on the soft tyres as well. Steel Lane on mediums, but they are aging mediums, 12 laps old, and they will struggle come the end of the race. Josh on fresh soft tyres. And now we see the ghosted Red Bull in the pits. What do you vibe? He is staying out on his on a medium tyre, so it's JT Galato and Jamie on the medium tyres, top 2. Rusted Bolt P3 on soft tyres. and Motion Hazard is P4 on mediums, Zach P5 on softs, Steelane P6 on mediums, Josh P7 on softs, Do You Vibe P8 on mediums, and Red Bull is ghosted, having left the session, but he's on soft tyres as well. We also check the penalty situation, so it is 3 seconds for Motion Hazard, 3 seconds for Josh, and 8 seconds for Do You Vibe. And see this, so it's a nice little 5-stop strategy for Josh and the Aston Martin. Got a couple of 4-stop strategies for Rusted Bolt and Motion Hazard as well. It looks like the 1-stop strategy has been nice for JT Galato and Jamie. No surprises there though, but we'll go back then to the tyre situation. And I think we'll have one more lap under the safety car. Will it be back-to-back wins for JT Galato and the constructors leaders Alfa Romeo? When I say constructors leaders, I am referring to the combined constructors championship from all of the tiers. So tiers 1, 2, 3 and 4. Steelane is now opting to get rid of those mediums and is going for fresh soft tyres. So although he'll be behind Red Bull, it is a Red Bull who is not in the race. So Steelane should be able to make a comfortable pass on Red Bull and then will be in the top 8. And I think Steelane retired, I believe, from the first 2 races. So it will be his first points on the board. And it's looking like a healthy race for Alfa Romeo. So on a personal perspective, myself and ARC Mickey, hopefully Mickey will be able to race tomorrow. If not, I'm sure Pro Beast will be willing to hill. But hopefully we'll be able to make up for not being able to race tonight. But so it is JT Galato will look to pull away from Jamie at the start, but then you've got Bolt on those soft tyres. And I've got to say, Rusted Bolt has impressed during this race. We'll also check now. Nope, not there. Yeah, position change. So you've got Rusted Bolt is up 9 places. And I've got to say, there's no doubt in my mind that he will be on the driver of the day list right now. Probably will include JT Galato, although it has been quite comfortable for him. Zach and Josh have also been very strong. The safety car is in this lap. I'm thinking now, should I get the, if I get the gap to the leader, because we do have penalties. So I'm going to go with that situation. Jamie is almost alongside JT Galato. JT Galato leads the race from Jamie. Motion Hazard is ahead of Rusted Bolt into the top 3, and Bolt losing a place to Zach, is he? Well, he will with that 3-second penalty, and Zach round the outside and will now take P4 ahead of Rusted Bolt, who may become under the cosh from Josh ahead. Very close between those 3 drivers. Oh, bit of a lock up ahead of the top 2, but then Steelane takes the place of the ghosted Red Bull, and there's a move down the inside from Josh. He is into the top 5 ahead of Rusted Bolt. Still on the inside as Bolt. Contact made between Bolt and Do You Vibe. Let's see the top 3 still running away with it, and it's Jamie over a second behind JT Galato. Rusted Bolt dropping now to the back, sadly for him. But Motion Hazard, 3rd place on the medium tyres. Zach on the softs in a strong 4th place, and this is where he would like to be because he has Motion Hazard ahead of him, and then after that, and it is Hazard who has got a penalty, so it is an effective podium position is on for Zach. If not a podium, he could still be on for at least P2. Lap 22 we are on now, out of the 31. Can Zach pass Motion Hazard within the next lap or two and threaten the top two? Which the top two gap is now pulled down to just 6/10. But Zach, is he going to make a move here? I don't think he will. So Hazard hold on to a podium place, excluding penalties. So whilst that gap is also closed, it looks like Steelane is closing in on Do You Vibe as well. On the soft tyres, not able to make the move stick or at all. So we'll go back with Zachlin as the gap begins to open up once more between JT Galato and Jamie to about a second. And Zach still all over the back of Hazard. Both take different lines, but still P3 and P4 at the moment. As Zach just keeps it under control for this short DRS straight. No, I don't think DRS is on just yet. I believe it will be on next lap. As in fact, Jamie still sticking to within 1 second of JT Galato. And there's potential for the McLaren to keep tabs on the Alfa Romeo. So whilst JT Galato looked like he was going to have a reasonably comfortable win, he's still having to keep Jamie at bay, and then eventually if Zach is able to pass Hazard, and now DRS has been enabled, so Zach, once he does move in on Hazard, hopefully he will do on this lap, I'm presuming, but Jamie can keep up with JT Galato. Just 7/10 between the duo in the lead of the race, and they have pulled out a good gap to Hazard ahead. 3 seconds again for Do You Vibe. He's going to drop down, and now Zach is making a move down the inside of the DRS, and he takes the position into the top 3. And Motion Hazard will now have Josh all over the back of him in the Aston Martin. This is a battle now for P4 has emerged. What about further behind? You've got Steelane without a penalty, right behind Do You Vibe, who has 11 seconds worth of penalties. And Steelane, being on the softs, will feel like he has an opportunity to close in on the likes of Hazard and Josh, both who have penalties. So still opportunities for Steelane to make up ground. And at this point, despite Russell Bolt being last place in the AlphaTauri, all he needs to do is finish and he'll still get them some good points. So Jamie still just about within the 1 second, and there has been Do You Vibe is out of the race. And it is another full core safety car. This will mean soft tyres will be going on for everyone. I'm sure. If you're not going on the soft tyres, what are you doing? You've got to do it. And JT Galato is not doing it. Jamie is also not doing it. Zach is boxing. Surely everyone now behind should pit. Steelane is not pitting. I can see a bit why. But there you go at the moment then. So it is JT Galato in the Alfa Romeo, Jamie in P2 and Steelane P3. None of which have pitted for fresh soft tyres. Everyone behind is pitting for the fresh soft tyres. So you've got Zach, Hazard, Josh, and I do wonder just on Russell Bolt, who now has an opportunity to catch back up. And he is pitting for fresh soft tyres. So now, will JT... I mean, at least for JT Galato, he has a buffer behind him of both Jamie and Steelane. But I think it would have been very, very interesting if everyone had pitted for fresh soft tyres behind JT Galato, who would stay out on the mediums. But you always do tend to get one or two who just think, well, I'm going to take my current tyres to the end to get a bit of track position, and that is what certainly Steve Lane done. I would have expected Jamie to have done pit opposite to JT Galato. Yep, we can get the tyre age. So it's only 5 laps old, but it is medium tyres up against the fresher soft tyres. And the likes of Zach, in particular, without a penalty, will be licking his lips over a potential minimum podium. But can he challenge JT Galato? And Steve Lane on 4 lap old softs, which may struggle come the end of the race. So we've got one more lap under safety car then. Well, Jamie has been keeping up with JT Galato, but the only question now is he only a buffer between JT Galato and the likes of Zach? And also I'd say Motion Hazard, but Motion Hazard does have a penalty. Because surely Zach will get past, I would guess, past Steve Lane within a couple of laps. But now what will happen with JT Galato and Jamie? I think Jamie will just need to try and keep Zach behind for as long as possible. That will help JT Galato out. But I don't think Jamie's in the game to help JT Galato out. I don't think JT Galato needs particular help, to be honest. But at the moment is JT Galato and Jamie on the mediums and are the only runners on the mediums now. Where Steve Lane is on 5 lap old soft tyres. Everyone else on fresh soft tyres. I love how the AI of Red Bull also pitted for the fresh soft tyres. And we also see Russell Bolt in the AlphaTauri looking to catch up. Hopefully he'll catch up this lap. Which is probably why he is bolting it. At least his tyres will be warmed up come the start of the safety car restart. Let's see. We'll see if the safety car does go in this lap. I do think it should. Yep, it is going in this lap. So Russell Bolt, I think, will just about catch back up. And he does pick up a 3-second penalty because he is pushing. So sadly for him, he has lost out with that penalty. Could have been able to push the likes of Hazard and Josh. But now, JT Galato goes, and Jamie goes right with him. Steve Lane has created a gap back, so Zach, can he make the move up the inside of Steve Lane and taking P3? And Zach now on the fresh soft tyres has JT Galato and Jamie right ahead of him. And also Hazard passing Steve Lane, as does Josh. Steve Lane staying on the soft tyres. It has not worked. He has dropped 3 places off the start. And he will now have Russell Bolt coming through. It's pretty irrelevant right now what Red Bull does as a result of him being ghosted and leaving the session. But the battle is on now. Zach is in range, firing range of the duo, and it's yellow flags. And Steve Lane has now decided to lose his front wing. He didn't like the front wing. He's opted to lose it. I say opted to lose it. He obviously didn't opt to lose it, but he just went into the rule, which cost him his front wing. But again, all he needs to do, finish the race, and you'll get very strong points for the Alfa Romeo team. So, 1.5 seconds between JT Galato and Jamie, but right behind is the soft tyre runner of Zach. And he will look to push his Haas car all the way with the McLaren. the top 3 all without penalties as well, as Russell Bolt now does go into P6 and will look to chase down Josh in the Aston Martin. But sticking with this battle with Zach all over the back of Jamie. Can he take the place this lap? Oh! He won't take the place this lap. Zach out of the race. And Hazard does move into P2. And the McLaren of Jamie is stricken down to P6. But now it looks like JT Galato should be able to win this race without any penalties as well. So even if Hazard does catch up to JT Galato, providing Galato does not get any penalties, he should take the victory. And there will be back-to-back wins for the Alfa Romeo. Steelane does pit for fresh soft tyres, change of front wing as well. I think the closest battle right now is between Motion Hazard and Josh. Both have the 3-second penalties as well. And then you've got Russell Bolt behind on 6 seconds. But with Red Bull not in the race, it is a battle for the podium. Still one for Hazard. Josh, I think those two should take podium positions now. But it's in what order? But if Motion Hazard doesn't catch up to JT Galato, then he will have to keep Josh at bay whilst Josh is within DRS range. I'm going to start thinking right now about driver of the day contenders. I think JT Galato has to be on the list. I don't know. I mean, beyond that, it's a bit difficult to say. Zach out of the race, so he would have been a contender. Maybe do I still include Russell Bolt? Possibly, but then I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think JT Galato will be the favourite for the driver of the day contender, surely. And it doesn't look like Josh is actually closing in on Hazard, so it looks like Russell Bolt is even closer. Russell Bolt has certainly shown promising pace, I've got to be honest. I've been impressed by the AlphaTauri. And if there's another driver in contention with JT Galato, it has to be Russell Bolt. I think, personally, anyways. I would have it between those two, but there you go. Jamie would have been on the potential list as well. But yeah, JT is the only one not to make a mistake. Yeah, pretty much. And yep, Russell Bolt now losing time to Josh ahead. So I am going to get the penalty situation back up. So it would be JT Galato with the victory. And then it is just going to stay in that order. Motion Hazard, Josh, Russell Bolt, because Red Bull is not here. Sadly for him, he won't take any points. Jamie will stay P6 and Steelane will stay P7. Well, I'll say that. They will actually go up one place apiece. So Jamie P5, Steelane P6. So it is a strong race for Alfa Romeo. Their lead at the top of the Constructors' Championship will only grow following this race. I think they were 9th place after round 1. So the fact that they've managed to take the lead after round 2 and will even increase that lead after the opening race of round 3, that's very promising signs for that team for sure. So it looks like nobody is catching up ahead. Just checking Jamie does have his front wing after pitting, but well, did he pit? Maybe he didn't need to actually. And he is on the medium tyre, sadly for him. Oh, makes contact with the wall. That's not the view I wanted, this is the view I wanted. His front wing still looks like it's intact. But may have picked up a little bit of damage, possibly. I don't think he's actually going to make any gains, so it is the last lap for JT Galato in the Alfa Romeo. And not only has he not made a mistake to take back-to-back wins, he's not picked up a penalty. As Jamie has just done that, picked up a 3-second penalty. And I'm also going to quickly get up the fastest lap. So it's still Vic Daddy with a 140.2. Let's see, JT Galato, can he take a fastest lap for himself? Maybe, because he's definitely opening a good gap up to Hazard behind. And he's using up his ERS, so where's he at? He is half a second gaining, and he may be able to take a late dramatic final lap. The fastest lap, can it be for JT Galato? A potential fastest lap point could be on for the Alfa Romeo. Take it away from Vic Daddy. He's using up, continuing to use up his ERS. And now, does he take the fastest lap? He takes the victory. JT Galato with the win. He does not take the fastest lap award though. But his victory for the Alfa Romeo. Back-to-back wins in Tier 1. Hazard takes P2 from Josh and Rusted Bolt. Red Bull does move up, but that is not literally Red Bull, unfortunately, because he is ghosted and not in the race. So Rusted Bolt finishes P4. Jamie now will take home P5 in the McLaren. And now we'll just have the long wait of Stee Lane to take a top 6 finish, a double top 6 finish for the Alfa Romeo team. Very, very strong points for the two Alfa Romeos. And actually, the only two drivers not to take a penalty were the two Alfa Romeos of JT Galato and Stee Lane. Might be nice in that, if you're in that group chat, in the Alfa Romeo group chat, probably have a good time of things right now, right? The atmosphere should be very strong. But here we are then, Stee Lane coming around the final corner. I will switch over to JT Galato, your race winner. And it is a fantastic display from the two Alfa Romeos, particularly JT Galato, taking the victory. Having won in round 2, he delivers in round 3. And Vic Daddy thought he was looking comfortable. He's now got a serious contender on his hands with JT Galato. And the podium celebrations then for the front 3. But there you go, those are the results, and we'll just take a screenshot of that. I love how I remember to take a screenshot of the race results, but I don't remember it for qualifying. But anyways, JT Galato with the victory in the Alfa Romeo. Motion Hazard and Josh hold on for podium positions. And then you've got Rusted Bolt will take P4, Jamie P5 and Stee Lane P6. Of course, Red Bull not in the race to take any points, unfortunately for him. But there you go, the fastest lap did go to Vic Daddy, who also got the pole position. So he still takes, I believe he still takes 2 points for that. Don't quote me on it, but I think for taking a fast lap. He still gets a point even though he didn't finish. I might be wrong though, but we'll see. But there you go, JT Galato with the victory. Back-to-back wins for him. So we will now be back for tomorrow night at Singapore again for my race in Tier 2. I think we'll try and see who we may have on for comms for that. Let me have a look. So it looks like we have... Hopefully it should be Shadow on for tomorrow, I believe. But anyways, that is your Tier 1 race, sorry. That is your Tier 1 race completed. Another victory for JT Galato to extend his point earnings in Tier 1. And then we'll be back same time for the 8 o'clock race tomorrow night in Tier 2. So thank you for watching. I've been Viva F1 Comms, and we're back tomorrow night.